Welcome, everyone. Welcome to No Like Trust for Real Estate. I am Christine George, your host. I'm also the co-founder of Post and Beam Creative. And today, one of my favorite people is joining us. Hilary Saunders, who is the Chief Broker Officer of Side, is with us today. And let me just tell you, she is like the real deal. She is a mom and she's humble and she's super smart. Like, she's one of those people that has quiet confidence. Do you know what I mean? Like, she's really smart, but she doesn't act like she's snobby smart. She's just super cool. And she's been recognized as one of the top female leaders within the real estate space. She also has a really interesting background. She was an attorney. And also a broker, owner, and operator of her own boutique brokerage before Side came into the picture. So I'm super excited to talk to her today. We're going to talk all about leadership. Welcome, Hilary. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Christine. This is so exciting. And you're so kind. All those nice things. Oh, my goodness.
I'm a truth teller, Hilary. We've known each other for not a long time, like 6-8 months. I'm a truth teller. I'm going to dig right in because I am super curious about your background. And I think it's got such a depth and richness to it. You bring so much to the table as a leader. So kind of take us back to when, you became an attorney and how that all turned into real estate.
Sure. I went to law school because the job market wasn't so great out of college. And I thought, this will be interesting and challenging. And in law school, I had this real property professor who just lit a fire under me and a light bulb went off because of, even in a densely populated city like San Francisco, each transaction was different and unique. And the stories behind the buyers and sellers were so interesting. And I, similar to you, love telling a story. I love interviewing people and really getting to the crux of the issue or whatever they're working on. And that's also how I problem solve. So in law school, that was kind of my path that I decided to go down. And then at the same time, I found an equal passion for estate planning and probate and really trying to help people. That's where the helping came in, where in the most difficult time in somebody's life, they could have had somebody either set them up so they can, just spend time with their family and grieve and do what they want to do and not focus on, oh, great, now I have to deal with all these assets or no assets and I have to pay these bills. What do I do? Or on the flip side, if they are in that terrible situation, I really like to be the calming voice that came in and said, you know what? Similar to how I handle real estate, let me just take everything off your plate. I will come to you. You will make all the decisions, but I'm going to do it in a way that feels like you can live your life. And this is not something that some big boulder you have to push up the hill. Let me push the boulder. You just kind of sit back and I'll tell you how to deal with this. So that's where my initial passion for real estate came in. And I ended up working in litigation for a bunch of years in San Francisco and then really learned I don't like the infighting and the constant focus on the minutia. I like the 30,000 foot level. I like to plan. I really like to help solve people's problems and not fight over it. If you can.
Yeah. And I would guess you get that on the probate side to some level, right? Especially when there's multiple family members involved, right?
Pro tip or life tip for anyone listening, write this one down. Even if you don't think you have assets, there will become a time when you have something of value that you own or are involved in or something. Please get your estate plan done. It's super simple. Create a trust, a basic will. It depends on the state you're in, what functions best. But trust me, planning a little bit ahead of time will save your loved ones headache. Okay, I'm off my soapbox.
Yes, no, I you know what? I've seen it in my own family. And the first thing we did when we had our son, my husband was like, we're going to get an estate plan. So that, we don't have to your point, like put the pain on our family. God forbid something happens. Yes.
So that blended my real estate and legal career really well, which was I would, participate in helping someone sell a house or buy a house. And then I would ask them, hey, do you have a trust set up? And they'd be like, why do we need that? I'm like, let me tell you why. And then I would parlay that into actually, hey, I'm giving way more value than the average realtor at the firm that I was at the time. And so that then transferred into, I should actually be doing this myself. This is my niche. This is why clients are hiring me, for my experience, for my education, for my style of doing things, and not for the company I'm working for, not the big box label that I'm working for. They could care less what that was. So that was the spark that it ignited the entrepreneurial, go out on your own, do it yourself, really put your brand on it. And my branding was nothing like mine was like bottom shelf compared to your top shelf branding. So if I had done it again and you guys were in existence, I would have done it differently.
Oh, well, thank you. So you left and you became a broker. You opened a boutique. Did you have agents or was it just you?
I was a licensed broker in California at the time. So when I left the big box, I actually brought a couple agents with me. And so it was a small and mighty team in San Francisco. And so I had to start it from the ground up, which was kind of the reason when developing Side, I really wanted to make it available to more top producing people, make it more accessible, because my background in legal and accounting and things like that made it a little more palatable for me. It wasn't scary. I knew who to call. I knew the resources. I knew where to go to find the answers when I didn't know them. And so that is super daunting that I found for most brokers or, realtors who want to go on their own. But I don't know how to handle all the back end is the first boulder to overcome.
It completely is, because most people who go into the brokerage business as an owner, they are realtors first. So they're salespeople. So they're people, they're relational. They're not people who, want to do all the operations. So you couldn't be any more right on about that. And I think that's I love that because you saw that, and that I really believe it's been one thing that's been missing in our industry for so many years. And Side came in and solved that. And obviously it was a major pain point because you guys are doing so well. So how did you go from the boutique to co-finding Side?
It's like a love dating story. My co-founders, Guy and Ed, Guy stalked me on LinkedIn for, I don't know how many months, just because they were coming out of technology and entrepreneurship and trying to understand how to utilize technology to disrupt the real estate space, and how can they utilize technology to streamline the real estate transaction, which in California is very paper heavy, and there was no automation process. And for them, it's like, well, why can't we just solve this with software? So they had that piece. So when the three of us got together and we're discussing the industry and what was missing, the piece that I brought to the table was, well, that the other thing that we could do is we could provide kind of like a white label back-end support, a platform for other like-minded individuals who are top producers who really want to own their business at the end of the day. And we can make that readily available by including, the brokerage support, the marketing support, the brand identity creation, and all that kind of thing. So that was kind of like the perfect three-legged stool the three of us created. And in a way that for me personally, it really allows women and minority who traditionally are at the lower percentage ownership of broker owners across the country in the real estate space, the opportunity to not have to consider the big financial investment to open a brokerage, to do so and be successful. So that was my big piece.
I love that because they're missing the back end piece, and they want their own brand out there at the end of the day. Whether they're an agent or a broker owner, they don't want to give up their brand to a big box brand. I mean, very few of them do. There are those who want that big brand behind them. But many of them, the real entrepreneurials, they want their brand out in front. And quite honestly, the more consumers we talk to, the more we're validated that people remember the agent before they remember the brokerage, right? It's like your hairstylist, right? You're going to follow them wherever they go, right? Because they're your person. It's the same with an agent. And so their personal brand is super important. So I love that you're providing that service, sort of that back end, that white label. It's a great concept. So what were some of the challenges you guys came up against when you started the business?
I think one of the biggest challenges, I think, was proving our concept. In any industry, in any disruption, if you are bringing something to a very old traditional industry, people look at you kind of like with squinty eyes and they're like, I don't know if you can actually do what you say you're going to do. Mm-hmm. Because one, it hadn't been done before. Two, you're going up against very entrenched, long time industry veterans who have owned the space for so long. And rarely had anything been disruptive, right? Zillow was truly disruptive when it came out with their estimates, whether they're on point or not. That concept was mind blowing. Yes. And same with like the iBuyer concept. But people at the very outset are always going to be naysayers. And so for us, we spent the entire first year with our initial 7 partner cohort to make sure that we were actually delivering quality and we were doing exactly what we were going to say we did. And then we looked at that first year and made sure that their growth that we promised or that we told them that we would be partnering with them to accomplish actually happened. And then we were able to go after that to kind of open up the floodgates, so to speak, and say, okay, this is repeatable. This is accomplishable. And here, let me show you the data that proves it.
That's
that was a big hurdle, but I think we did it right and we took our time.
Yeah. I mean, and very few companies have the patience or their investors have the patience to allow you to take your time, you know, right. I mean, they want to see growth immediately. And you're right. Like this is a very old traditional space, slow to change. And so, and they're not always, they're cautiously maybe not so optimistic, right? That you're going to do what you say you're going to do. So that's so smart. So what have been some of the pivotal moments that fueled, or maybe the milestones that fueled Side's growth?
I think one big one was really, we started in San Francisco. And that market in and of itself is very deep and very different. And there were at the time a lot of boutique owners of longstanding family-run companies. And I think one of the biggest inflection points was when Compass came to the market. And at that point in time, they were buying up market share as their strategy. And they were picking up a handful of family-run boutiques who wanted exit strategies or whatnot. And what was the aha moment was those true entrepreneurial spirits who want to own their business then left and said, you know what, this is the opportunity for me to really, I believe in boutique head to toe. I know it's local. I know it's all about that quality product and that I'm providing my clients. And then we were able to really say, this is full product market fit. Like we know we have something, and we're not for everyone. At the outset, I say that we're very niche. We're very good at what we do, but it's, we have a slice of the pie that is very direct. And so that was a really turning point for us, I think, when that happened.
Yeah, because you guys came in right around the same time as Compass. I'm not even sure who came first.
We officially launched in September of 2016. So 2017 was our whole first year with that initial cohort. And I think it was right around 2017, 18 was when they showed up in San Francisco. I mean, they've been around for a while on the East Coast, but I think that's about right.
Yeah. And so their model was just so different. Like you did really get the true entrepreneurs who just have that passion to be out there and own their business. And so it was a completely different audience that you guys were targeting for sure. And you gave those who were probably being hounded by Compass another opportunity to to be able to stay and grow their business. Let's talk about leadership, because now you've been, in place for 6 years, almost 7 years. What qualities do you think are most essential as a leader now of, what did you tell me in the green room, $3 billion company in terms of home sales?
It's interesting. I have loved leadership since I was a small human. And it's one of those interesting things where you can learn about it, you can study it in school, you can learn life skills, but when you apply them and you see how it affects other people and whether it lands or it doesn't land, and then you learn from that, I think the years of experience, I would give you two different answers if you and I were talking 6 years ago versus now. And now I think it's very focused on really listening, being an active listener, and really being conscious of what information you're trying to understand from the person you're speaking with or the audience that you're speaking to, and what you can gain from it so you can understand whatever issue there is. And then from there, you can develop a plan and you can lead accordingly. But you really have to care for what you are going to hear. You can't just, ask questions and in your mind be spinning onto the next thing. You actually have to be digesting what they're saying and validate those feelings and concerns, because they're all valid.
Yeah. And I think in my experience, people just really want to be heard. At the end of the day, they want to be heard. So even if you can't give them what they want, most times, if they feel that they've been genuinely heard and you have considered what their needs are, they will support or get behind the direction that you want to take the company most often. And I think that takes a special kind of a person to be able to do that. So, you talked about women and minorities being, having this opportunity with Side. As a woman, as the only woman co-founder of Side, what do you think your gender has to do with your leadership style and your ability to lead in a different way within your organization?
That is a great topic. And I think maybe at some point, Guy Ed and I should write a book about it, because there are communication styles that are different. There are point of views that are very different. It is very interesting because the three of us are around the same age. I'm technically the oldest, begrudgingly. But we see each other 100% as equals, intellectuals, regardless of gender or anything of that nature. However, there is a perspective that I think I bring just because of the nature of being a mom, having different intuition than male intuition, and different empathy that men have empathy, but it's a different flavor of it. And so there's almost like a holistic approach when the three of us get together and discuss and debate and have conversations, that perspectives that they may not have thought of that I bring to the table. They have their own perspectives, obviously, but I just think that having that unique inherent perspective that a woman brings is a different light, or it's a light from a different angle. And you may not have considered what is illuminated by that light.
Yeah, it's the diversity at the table is so important, right? So can I go out on a limb and say Side wouldn't be what Side is without Hilary's perspective?
Well, I'll just pat myself. No, I'm just kidding. I would never do that. No. I think that from different reasons too, because I'm the one that brought the original real estate perspective. And so I had that real estate and legal angle of things. Guy and Ed had the tech space and the entrepreneurial and the startup mindset. I had no understanding at that point what actually could be accomplished in what time frame with technology. It blew my mind. And I think it was almost like a perfect storm, so to speak, of three different individuals, wrapping all their ideas into a little tornado and just letting it go.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. What part do you play in the front facing? Because, we know that 60 to 65% of people in the real estate space are women. Now, a smaller number are in a leadership position, but you're still in front of quite a few agents. I would imagine that your perspective, your just essence is really important when it comes to being in front of your clients.
I would agree. And I think my role has changed over the years. One of my favorite things to advise people to do, which was something that was ingrained in me early on in beginning side, is try and replace yourself every 6 months. That ensures growth, that ensures bringing on new people, new perspectives of accomplishing certain tasks. So I started out very, very focused on building up the brokerage piece and making sure that we had the right team in place to process transactions, to process payments, to do the right branding, expand into the different states, and mentor our brokerage operations team. And they are a very well run, oiled machine, has a great team on them. And, they fly by themselves. I only pop in every once in a while to give my perspective or, what things they're doing, how I can be of any service. I've shifted to more of a thought leadership and market expansion, mind bending role. Speaking on women in leadership and why are there not more women in the C-suite in real estate, and what are the issues that we either have not discussed or not discussed enough or not provided avenues to solve for. I think plenty of people talk a big game, they don't do anything about it. So my role this year specifically is focusing on DEI and making sure that true fair housing and housing equality occurs across this country. It's a humongous mountain to climb, but I'm doing my part 1 foot at a time. And I'm super excited to see where we go and the impact that we can make. So TBD.
You're getting me going here. I'm really excited. Well, the whole reason that we met was through the Women Up Initiative, which is a California Association of Realtors initiative on doing exactly what you're talking about, is bringing more women up into leadership roles. So you did say something about, why isn't it happening? What discussions are we not having? What do you think are some of the biggest reasons women are not stepping into more leadership roles?
I think traditionally there's 2 pieces of it. One is the leadership of a brokerage organization. And I, in my opinion, it's been that the skill set hasn't been valued as much traditionally as, say, the typical male skill set of running an organization, making difficult decisions, whatever. But women don't tend to fight for those positions. They've been tapped on the shoulder and said, hey, I see these skills in you, typically by men, which is great. They're amazing allies and advocates, but it's not the same as the women being encouraged to do it themselves.
Yeah, so that's a great differentiator.
Yeah, it's almost like pulling versus pushing someone, right?
Yes.
I don't think there's enough of the tools to push someone to create their own style, create their leadership skills, and then foster in them the desire to want to do it versus, hey, we need a woman because we need to check this box.
Yes. That is so beautifully stated. Yes.
An important shift. And that has to be done internally in the organization. Side is, we have over 57% of our partners our partner companies are women owned. We have, a great number of women in our leadership inside side of director level and above. And we put our money where our mouth is, and we want to make sure that the clientele that we serve is reflective in us.
Oh my God, I love that. I love the analogy of the push-pull, because that's a very subtle piece that I think is truly important to recognize, So like as a mom, you have these two beautiful girls, and they're little. So like you have this clean slate to encourage them, right? How do you do that? Like, I'm sure you've thought about that. Like, how do I take them from, I think they're 3, right? 3 years old?
They'll be 4 in February.
Okay. They're almost fast. 4. Yes. How do you envision cultivating that in them as they grow?
I think about it on a daily basis, but I think I started, my son who's 10 was in this side journey with me. So he has seen from the very beginning, from our very first office, even from little kids absorb everything. They are so smart. They are so spongy. And bringing him to the office where there were women who were running businesses, he saw me running meetings. He knew that, moms do these things and this is great. And so he has that perspective now, which is one that I want to foster in him continuously, that women in leadership is super important for him to support, and then him to also appreciate and encourage in his role, whatever he decides to do. Yeah. And then with the girls, it is that you can accomplish anything, but you respect when some people have to work. And it's not a negative thing. Oh, mom has to work and this is, sad or bummer. It's yay. This is a cool thing, and making it feel like accomplishing whatever it is that you want to do or need to do at that time is a positive experience, not a negative one. And, they're involved a lot. They see me travel. They go to open houses. They do all that stuff. They pretend that they're realtors on their little phones. It's really cute. I love it.
I love that. And sort of seeing, that, it's an expectation that they come to just know that mom is a leader, and has an impact, a positive impact on other people. I know for me, like with my son, that's super important. Like I want him, to your point, to see it as a positive, and to see that, the passion behind it is to have that impact on others, that positive impact on others, whatever it is your role is in whatever industry you're in. Yeah, I love that. Go back to the fair housing, because what are you doing to support that effort? Because that is a huge mountain.
It is. It is a very huge mountain, and it is very encouraging and exciting. So at the beginning of the year, Side created a DEI council that is put together of our partners and realtors in our community, and myself as the leadership person, providing them the ability to create content, to create classes, to create how-tos for other people, because these people on our council are ones who are they do hold leadership positions at their local realtor associations. They volunteer in the community, but they are actually teaching first-time homebuyer seminars. They're working with Freddie Mac and figuring out what programs are available to people who may not traditionally think that they can own a home. And they are actually boots on the ground in their communities. So the council itself is putting material and spotlight on it so that other people across the country can just say, oh, I can do this. I can pick this up and I can implement it myself.
Plug in
my town, USA. And here's the whole, manual of how to do it. And so from our perspective, it's a grassroots effort on providing tools and resources. So that way, anyone who has a passion for making sure home ownership is truly equally available to do it in their respective community. And then from there, we're going to go up.
That's fantastic. Oh my God. Keep me posted on that. I would love to share out some of your successes. I just think it's amazing. We don't talk enough about it.
Check it out. Side.com is our website. Yep. And then we have a diversity tab on there. You can just go into the resources page, and there's all the resources free. you may have whatever you like.
Oh, that's fantastic. So it's not even just for your partners.
No,
You're making it available to
our partners
everybody.
have created it for the entire real estate community. And if there's something that you think should be on there, you can always email me directly at hilary@side.com, and I will look at it.
Oh, that is awesome. I will make sure that's in the notes. That's a really important piece. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for pushing that huge boulder up the hill.
Hey, you know what? There's magical people who climb Everest. I will never do that, but they do that one foot at a time too.
Yeah, they do. They certainly do. You got to start somewhere. And that's
Totally.
that's phenomenal. What's next for Side in terms of growth and innovation?
We are expanding not as rapidly as we had done in the past, but more strategically. We've gone back to who we are at our core, which is really providing the best in class ability for the top level realtors who want to own their businesses. So we are expanding into new territory. I teased it to you earlier, which
She's a vault, everybody. She would not.
I know.
Tell
I
me.
won't say where.
I even threw out states.
I know.
And
She's like dropping names. I'm like, no, but it'll come out at the beginning of the year. We'll tell everybody where we are going next. But we're working really hard at providing the best service to our existing partners and others who want to join us in the states that we're at. I mean, it's been an interesting year across real estate. And I think for us, it's really providing the tools to our community to really excel in a way that they can focus on their business now that it's not as crazy as it was last year.
Yeah. And that's an important piece too. We have to, a lot of agents can get wrapped up and nervous at this point because the market has slowed down. But this is a huge opportunity, right? To really start to hone your business development skills, warming up your pipeline and, making sure that all of your systems are in place so that, come the first of the year, the spring market, you really can grow and excel. So that's a really good point. Take advantage of this quiet time.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. You have all of these brands behind you. So how many brands are actually there? How many partners are in your,
we have
in your
over 500.
Wow.
At this point. Yeah. We have over 500 and they're just the companies that we support. And they range, from a few agents to 50 to 60. It just depends on, it's the choose your own adventure and flavor of your boutique brokerage. And what does that look like? Are you small and mighty or are you very large and expansive?
Yeah, I love it. I love the opportunity for all of those companies to, just make a huge mark in their local communities. That's really what it's all about. Because those brands, they might not be recognizable to me. They are super recognizable in the local community. People know who those companies are. So that's an exciting thing. So exciting for an entrepreneur. As we wrap up, what are 3 things you would want our community to take away today?
I think it's one of them really is understanding your own value proposition. You do this as an exercise. When you and I spoke on the podcast, it is truly, truly understanding your value proposition is foundational to being really good at what you sell, right? You're not selling your ability to put a house in an MLS. You are selling your unique value prop. What do you do for the client that, excuse me, that the other people don't do? The other thing is take time out for yourself. Put your oxygen mask on first, because if you can't show up, then you know what? You're really no good to anyone else. No offense, but take care of yourself, make sure that you are in a good place and ask for help. The third thing is always ask for help. If you don't know how to do something, if you think you could do it better, if you want to learn about anything, just ask. I really don't know why there's stigma attached to asking for help, especially like with career growth. It's seen as like, oh no, my bosses will think I don't know what I'm doing. It's actually the reverse. when we at a leadership level look at people who are engaging and constantly saying, how can I do X, Y, or Z? It shows initiative. It doesn't show insecurity. So, yeah.
And people who have intelligence and emotional intelligence are curious people. So it's not so much seeing it as, I need help. I don't know. I need help. It's more about being curious to continue to grow and learn more. I mean, that's really what it's about. And you're right. Leaders love that. They eat that up. But I also think that's a female leader, somebody who, appreciates wanting to mentor and teach. And I also think putting your oxygen mask on first is also more of a female leadership style, because we know as moms, we don't do it enough. And we know that we need to prioritize that. So for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Finish this sentence for me. Know, like, trust is.
Know, like, trust is to really understand yourself as a human, because you have to know yourself, you have to like yourself, and then you have to trust your abilities to accomplish anything you want to do.
Yeah, 100%. Love it.
I love your show, Christine. You're amazing.
Oh my God.
And I love your energy and your sincerity and what you bring and support even the same mission and making people understand their uniqueness and how to share it with the world. It's really cool.
Oh my God. Thank you. Oh my God. I love you. When am I going to see you next?
I know. We should get together.
I know. We're on opposite sides of 90.
I know. But we always meet Women Up something or some other wonderful event.
In January?
No, we have actually our side-by-side event. I'll be in San Diego hosting our yearly massive event. Yeah.
So it may not be until June, but that's okay. Yeah. We'll stay in touch.
Yes,
thank you so much. Thanks for being here.
Oh, you're welcome.
It's been a pleasure. And for those of you who are watching, let us know. Leave us a comment. Let us know you were here. Tell us where you're joining from. And if you're listening on the podcast, it would go so far if you would leave us a 5-star review, write us a little review. And if you like what we're doing, share it with your friends. We are Know, Like, Trust for Real Estate, and visit us at postandbeamcreative.com as well. So have a wonderful day, everyone. And we'll see you next time. Take care.